We'll get started here in just a second, guys. Ian Edwards on the way, Artist Series. Arturia, ladies and gentlemen. Lab Promo, Mini V, Stage 73, Rev Plate 140. Okay, let's switch over here. Let's see. Oh, man. How's the world doing?
Doing all right. How about you?
Good. Let me turn this off here. With my screen. How you doing, Edwards? Ian Edwards, ladies and gentlemen. The same name as me.
Hello.
We're few and far between.
Middle initial. It's weird.
I know that too, right? How's everyone doing out there?
Right.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
He's got the Moog Fest T-shirt on.
I do.
2018. Very nice. Very nice.
I was a volunteer that year.
Were you?
Yeah, I was. It was crazy. I signed up to volunteer on production staff, which worked out really well because they put me on the stage crew for one of the big stages, and I was responsible for moving Suzanne Ciani's Buchla onto stage.
Really?
Yeah.
How much was that worth?
Like so, like you are familiar with Buchla, right?
Yeah.
Like big old 60s synths. It was one of like big unfolding ones, probably $50,000 to $100,000 worth of Buchla. And me and like two other people were just lifting a table onto a stage.
Wow.
With Suzanne Ciani's fully patched Buchla. That's terrifying.
Wow, that's wild. Well,
that was
cool.
a good year to be at Moogfest.
Yeah, that's wild. I remember going to the festivals, the trade shows all the time, and you know, putting our stuff up, and the whole gang was there from all the different companies and stuff. It was really special.
Yeah.
But there's about 14 guys watching us right now. Thank you so much for watching us, everybody. My name's Ian Martinez. I do the marketing for Arturia here in the U.S. We do these live streams about once a month, hopefully twice a month when we can. We're ramping them up and creating this user group YouTube page, or well, there's a YouTube page as well. It's a secret though. But no, not really. But thank you so much for tuning in once again. We're going to be going over the lab promo, which is a $400 value you get when you buy any lab. So even if you buy the $120 mini lab Mark II, you get the $400 values of our top selling software, which is the Mini V, the Stage 73 V, and the Rev Plate 140 Reverb. So basically what that means is the Mini V is like a Moog type of thing. And it's the Stage 73 is like has the Rhodes in it, and the Plate Rev 140 is the Plate Reverb, which sounds beautiful. And he's gonna show us some crazy stuff today, which I'm a little bit scared because I haven't gone that in depth with it. But he's gonna show us some really crazy stuff. Yeah, you have a band right now, Ian? Are you working with stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, we're not playing out live right now. But,
okay.
Yeah, I play. I'm the synth wizard in Partials.
Really? Synth wizard.
Yeah,
okay.
So I do a mix of I'm mostly on modular synth these days. I have a Euro rack downstairs.
Really?
Yeah.
So you would do modular and all that stuff as well. Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
That's kind of my bag. I like to build the machine to do the work for me, and
yeah.
I can just kind of hands off, turn knobs every once in a while.
Wow.
And that's part of what I want to do today with the Mini V.
Okay. What are you gonna be going over? What are you gonna be showing?
Well, the coolest thing about these plugins is that, first of all, they're really good reproductions of the originals. This very Moogfest, my band bought a Mini Moog, one of the reproductions.
Really?
Yeah. So I've gotten to know it over the past few years. I've had 2018. I've had 3 years to to check my shirt. I've had 3 years to get comfortable with just the basic layout. I've been doing synth for a while, so I'm comfortable with it. And over time, we've started to get more and more creative with the patch bay in the back, because there are control voltage patch points in the back.
Right.
And so the cool thing is, with the Mini Moog, you can do that too, or with the Mini V, you can do that too, using some of the modulators in the top. Okay. So,
all right,
we're gonna start normal and then get weird.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. and the Stage 73, you're doing some stuff with the Rhodes as well.
Yeah, I'll show off the Rhodes. I'm a big Rhodes fan.
And the plate.
Not a particularly accomplished keyboardist, but
okay.
We'll
well,
do something.
Can't do everything.
And
in
then
this
obviously
world, right? All right, cool. Well, everybody, thank you so much. We're going to do a Q&A at the end, so feel free to ask questions as we go along, and we'll address them as much as we can as we go along. I'll be looking at the chat on my phone here, making sure that I'm on board with what you're saying. Greetings, everybody. Greetings, Kevin. Hey, Brian. Hey, David. Hey, fam. Thank you so much for coming. Without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started with the demonstration, man? If you can share your screen, I'll man the station on my side. What's that?
Let me close out some windows.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna start us completely fresh.
Okay.
Oh, and I should have mentioned actually the intro song that we were playing there was made largely with V plugins.
Ah, with okay, with the V collection.
Yeah. The bass line was the mini V. There were a couple of lead lines that were the Juno reproduction.
Okay.
So that they've served me very, very well. Cool. So here we are. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Blank slate here. I'm going to start completely fresh. So the first thing is just the fact that the Mini V is just a really nice synth. There are plenty of default, just like subtractive synth plugins in every DAW. That work just fine. A lot of them even sound really great. But being a hardware guy, doing modular and owning a couple of hardware synths, I really like the simplicity of like just a panel rather than a bunch of drop-down menus and stuff like that. So how's that sound?
Sounds good. We got stereo sound, ladies and gentlemen, so we are rocking.
Yeah, first sound.
I know.
Let's make it kind of subby. I don't want to spend too much time on the conventional stuff because there's so much to get to. Turn the cutoff down, emphasis up. Resonance, the emphasis here actually cuts the lows because it's the that classic like ladder filter design.
Okay.
So that's inconvenient for bass lines, but we're going to use that later.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah. You know, straightforward Mini Moog sound, right?
Cool.
You can get kind of a soft one. You can get kind of like a, let's see, what am I doing here? Ooh. You can make it kind of like zappy. Pyong, pyong, pyong.
Okay.
Let me turn my headphones up. I can't hear myself.
Okay. I'll let you take it away. I'll go ahead and just hide myself for a second so I don't disrupt your demonstration. So,
regular Mini Moog, we can play around with it. It's great. But like I said, I'm not a keyboardist. So let's do something weird. One of the cool things about synthesizers is you can make anything. So what if we didn't want something melodic? What if we wanted to synthesize our own drum sounds? You know, you can grab a sample from any classic drum machine, drop it in. It's fine. But there's kind of a nice exercise to making your own drum sounds. It kind of teaches you what you like about drums. You can tweak them. You can. It might even just inform your opinions on samples down the line. So let's make a kick drum. I'm gonna try that. So I'm gonna turn the first oscillator off. Turn the second two on. We're going to drop these as low as we can. And I'm going to go all the way to the bottom on both of the oscillators. And we can't hear anything, and that's honestly fine. Super low. Yeah, there we go. There's your 808.
Right.
Let's turn the sustain down. There we go. So we can't really hear anything. But what does a bass drum do? Especially with like an 808 or a 909 or something, it goes like a boom. So let's do some modulation. If we go up here to the Advanced tab, we have this beautiful little modulation section where you can kind of route anything to anything. And this is like with the real Mini Moog. If you have a 1/4 inch, you can plug out of the keyboard the control voltage output and plug it into like the filter cutoff or something like that. So if we have our sound here, I'm actually going to turn oscillator control off, so there's no pitch information going to any of the oscillators. And we're going to take, let's use the VCA envelope, and we're going to route that to all 3 oscillators' frequency modulation. So now, we're going to turn that up. There we are. Boop. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
A little quiet.
Mm-hmm.
We can fix that in a minute. Awesome. So that's kind of, that's kind of bass drumming. Let's see if we can dial it in anymore. It's a real kind of subbiness to it. I can't quite hear very well. Oh, there it is. There's what I was looking for. So now, great bass drum sound.
Wow.
So, what do we do with that? We're going to drop it into an audio track. So I'm going to take audio from the Mini V. I'm going to arm both of them, just record. Beautiful. All right. So now, we got this. I'm going to trim it right here. See if we can get that even tighter. Sweet. All right. And then let's do a drum rack. So we can just save our samples here. I'm just going to throw this on C1.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah. Let's do... Ooh, what was that? Yeah, whatever. Let's just quantize it. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to showcase. Boop. What is going on? Oh, that's playing too. That was going crazy. Cool. Kick drum. All right. So now let's take the same plugin. I don't really care about saving that sound. Let's make a snare. All right. So for a snare, we know we have some noise here. So let's turn this on. Let's go pink noise. Let's see, yeah, cutoff frequency all the way up. And I'm going to turn the filter emphasis up. Because that's, actually, no, we're not going to play with that yet. So let's see, what do we have? Why am I not getting noise? I specifically, oh, you know why? I don't have the track record armed. Woo! There we go. All right. So actually, let's just turn these off. Wow. Cool. That's great. All right. Actually, you know what?
Hi-hat?
We just made a hi-hat. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. Let's save that. All right. So same deal. I'm just going to record arm both of these and just stop this. Got it. Beautiful. All right. We're going to trim that down.
Drums with the Mini V, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Oh, just you wait, man. We're going off the rails. This cannot be just a normal... Oops, what did I do? There we go. I'm going to put that here. Cool. So then if I record on this...
It's like a trap hat too. That's cool.
Yeah, cool. Let's get a snare sound. So snare sound's going to be a little lower, so I'm going to make it pink noise instead of white noise. Make this decay time a little longer. Make sure I have the right thing. Ooh, I like that. It's kind of chippy.
Yeah.
Kind of Game Boy-ish. Can we turn the filter? No, let's not filter it. Cool. That sounds great. I like that. So let's do the same thing. Record on both. This is just a really quick way to like grab samples.
Yeah.
Great. You just want one clear shot. Doesn't matter. We can. There we go. Got it. No. Nope, this one. Cool. Let's get that.
Yeah.
Let's do a little bit of sequencing here. Let me turn my metronome on. Kind of whiffed on the hi-hat there for a second, but
Yeah, cool.
now we get to see how bad my MIDI latency is.
Right.
Yay! That's actually not bad.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna cheat. Cool. So that was fun. Let's switch gears a little bit. We'll come back to.
You could turn the menu up a little bit. If you could turn that audio up, or the sequence up a little bit, so we can hear the drums a little bit.
Are they really quiet?
A little bit. I mean, no big deal. There we go.
I don't want to boost the master. Is that better?
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. All right, I just maxed out the master.
Yeah,
track.
no worries. Thank you.
Cool. Let's play around with something else, and we'll come back to the MIDI mode.
Okay.
Let's do the stage.
Okay.
So let's add a little bit of context to our beautiful little drum.
It is the second version of the V273.
It is.
They did a whole revamp of it.
Yeah.
So maybe turn that one down a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Let's get it kind of balanced. So yeah, the stage is actually one of my favorite plugins. It's one of the reasons I got it in the first place. Because I don't know if anybody's ever tried to move a Fender Rhodes. They are like a Rhodes sound without having to carry one around.
And you
So
said you couldn't play that well. That was pretty awesome.
I know like 3 tunes. But yeah, so it's got really good dynamic range. You can hear if I turn it up a little bit, I'll just do that for a second here. You can really hear the tines. You can hear the dampers too.
And mind you, these are DSP instruments, which means that they're designed from waveforms. You know, in a sense, they're not samples. So there's no snapshots. The velocity response is super silky smooth because there's no velocity snapshots. You know, it's just a smooth representation of the 128.
It's actually continuous.
Yeah.
Do you know
exactly.
how they did the modeling?
They call it TAE, intellectual property of TAE processing, but I don't know how they do it. I know the guys who made it, who design it, but I went out to France a couple times. These guys are amazing, but wizards, I tell you. Anyways, take it away.
Yeah, so it sounds beautiful. I love this thing. And obviously you've got all sorts of little extras. You've got pedals. Oh, we're in stereo. We spent way too long trying to get stereo audio running before the stream. Ooh.
Sounds good.
Yeah, just lush. I like that progression. I think I'll use that for this track. We got pan, we got flanger. And actually, if you look closely, the default room reverb for this plugin is the Plate 140. So you're already hearing it. Cool, let's lay something down. Let's do... That was not the fault of the plugin. That was my crappy MIDI keyboard. Let's just inch this down a little bit, just so we don't get the bark.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, one thing one thing I meant to do actually is adjust the velocity curve. Just for this keyboard in particular, if you get to know your MIDI gear, you can really dial stuff in.
Yeah,
so
velocity curve. Yep.
Yeah. So having this is absolutely clutch because I can't adjust the adjust the response on the actual keyboard.
Yeah. By the way, they actually allowed a firmware update to come up for the Mark II key labs, allowing the velocity curves to choose your velocity curve as you would like it from the board itself. Just so you can play anything you want in the response that you'd like from like the 88 to the key lab or whatnot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds worth it because then you can get around like plugins that don't have this feature.
The playability comes up.
Yeah, a lot.
Kevin had a quick note. Kevin Lawrence said that they use an electrical circuit and component emulation designer to model in the software the actual circuitry. There we have it. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, so it's completely emulating the entire signal.
Yeah, they're very serious about it. Yes.
That's beautiful.
All right, so take it away. Sorry.
Let's get rid of this. That's nice. Cool. What does this need? Needs a bass line. Let's go back to the MIDI. I can't speak. Let's add yet another Moog. And just think, with real mini Moogs, you couldn't do this. I'm gonna drag this channel off to the side since we're not really using it. Please, Ableton, are you gonna cooperate? No. Okay, cool. Drums. Let's get this drum rack. Let's just leave that. Rhodes, and then we'll call this bassline. So let's get a nice plucky bassline dialed in. I like to zero that out. Let's get some triangle waves. Pop this down to 32 feet. No sustain. A little bit of decay time. Ooh, yeah. I kind of like that. It's gamey.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a little bit Nintendo-ish. If you couldn't tell from the intro, I'm a fan. There's a little something on the top end that I don't quite want. Oh, you know what? Actually, this is just, there we go. All right. There's that resonance that I want. Cool. All right. Simplicity is key. Just nudge this over a little bit. Just a little bit. Cool. That sounds great. How's that?
Yeah, it's great. Fat bass.
I like it. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like the simple, well, it's simple on our end because they did all the DSP to make it simple for us. But like the simple interface and like the classic sound of that like Model D is just one of my favorite things to make basses out of. And of course the Model D can be, like the MIDI V can be a lead. Oh yeah, I was playing around just before. Let's add another one. You can make pads out of it because this can do polyphonic. Let's get like a default patch. Just hit that poly button and woo! Hello. Let's pop up an octave. Bake a little bit of oscillator detune into the default patches, and sometimes that can be really nice and sometimes it's not. Ooh, that's kind of nice. add some modulation. Oh yeah, and there are a bunch of extra effects on here that I haven't even gotten into yet. That formant filter is wild. No, LFO AM. That should work. That's better. Turn this down even more. Alright, so. Let's take it up an octave. And of course we want to, that's a pad, and we're making something kind of housey. So let's put a compressor on it. Audio effects. Where's my compressor? I would use one of the Arturia compressors, but I have not spent enough time with them. There it is. It's at the top. Get a side chain from, let's do the drum rack. Let's do, oh, I didn't name them. I'm going to assume that's the first one. So we've built pretty much everything except for the roads out of drums. But what if you're like me and your computer is starting to struggle running so many Moogs and so many samples and everything like that? What if you just wanted a single plugin to do like most of the work? So the cool thing about the Mini V is that you can interpatch it with itself so much that it can be an entire drum machine on its own. So let's do that. It'll be a mess, and I love it. So I'm going to turn off everything just so I have a little bit more processor power to go around. Here we go. What is this, like our 6th Mini in this session? I think we can always use more. Zero that out, zero that out. So I'm going to build the same, basically the same kick sound that we did before. So we're building on top of that. So first one off, second one on. We're gonna need the noise in a minute. Actually, I'm gonna start without it, but I'll turn the volume up. Let's see. Let's do no sustain because we're making drums. Cool. And then oscillator control off. And then the other thing we did was set modulation from the VCA envelope all the way up to, not pulse width, FM, because that's frequency. Cool. All right. Let's go. Oh, and then these all the way down. And then let's make these triangle waves. There we go. That's actually more kicky than the last one. Cool. Okay. So I'm just going to make a little clip here because I just want, let's do it at like C1. That'll be useful for later. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Let me turn off everything else so there's nothing else running. All right, pretty good. So we've got the start of our drum machine. Let's do the same thing we did before and add a snare. So what we need is some noise, obviously. So there we have a kick and snare at the same time. How do we switch back and forth? And this is where the magic of modulation starts happening. So I'm going to take... so don't forget that we actually turned off keyboard control of both of the lower oscillators. So keyboard is doing nothing right now. So I'm going to take keyboard follow. I'm going to patch that. This is just like taking the CV out with a 1/4-inch cable and just plugging it into... Gosh, let's do filter cutoff. Yeah, okay. If I turn this off, filters all the way down, but kick drum, that's on the left side of my keyboard. Kick and snare on the right.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, I have not that. Sorry, this is a mess. All of a sudden, I have total control of my drum machine just by painting MIDI notes like that.
Wow.
Cool. We're not done yet. What if we want a hi-hat? Let's do like an offbeat hi-hat. So for an offbeat hi-hat, we need to have no snare sound because we don't want it to play snare every time there's a hi-hat. But we also don't want the kick. So we'll figure out a way to do that in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and put offbeats here. So we're going to hear... That's a whole lot of kick, and that's kind of annoying. So I mentioned earlier that the emphasis on the Minimoog, very importantly, cuts the low end. And we are actually going to use that to our advantage by taking yet another modulator. We don't need LFO right now. Let's take velocity, because we're not really doing anything with velocity. And let's send that to the emphasis. I'm just going to max it out. And then all of a sudden, we have a second line of modulation on our MIDI. So we still hear everything exactly the same, except what did I do? I forgot something. What did I forget? There's a part to this patch that I'm missing. I said filter emphasis, right? Velocity to emphasis. That's on. Turn emphasis all the way up. Oh. Oh, there we are. That is very, very loud. Okay, so let's turn that. Actually, that's kind of cool.
Right.
You know, we're doing non-conventional drums anyway. Let's not make it be a hi-hat sound. Ooh, there we go. Okay, cool. So now we've got a whole like house beat with like 2 notes, 4 MIDI notes, and some velocity. Let's get our other sounds back in. Let's see. Let's clean up a little bit.
Nice.
And you know, if we want, we can even, don't really need the kick. Take the hi-hat from it.
It's all synthesizers. It's wild. Golly.
What was that?
I'm just amazed.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite things about like good plugins that allow you to interpatch stuff is that you can kind of bend them to your will and pull the same tricks that you would with hardware synths. And this this is basically a DFAM, actually. It's the exact same ethos. Have you ever played with a DFAM?
Mm-mm.
So basically, it's kind of like the Moog Mother. What is it? The Mother 32, in that it's like a single, like semi-modular panel, but it's got a really interesting sequencer on it that actually just has 2 lanes of sequencing and just knobs, and you can patch those to whatever you want. And it's basically a step sequencer. It's exactly like this. You just have like 8 steps, and you can patch the top one to filter cutoff and the bottom one to like resonance, or kind of interpatch it as much as you want. It's got that patch bay on the right side. And then you can just kind of go nuts. You can simplify. Turn this down a bit. Let's make it grittier. Yeah, and you can make it go like completely over the top just by like turning knobs, like map whatever knobs you want to a MIDI controller and just start playing. There's one more ridiculous thing you can do with this plugin that I really love that I learned that Ian has not ever done before, so I'm going to show it off. So we've already used the Mini V as a bass line, as a drum sample generator, as a drum machine on its own. We've used it as a pad, although I think that could probably do better. I'm just gonna delete that. I'm not proud of that pad. It's fine. This one is not going to be any of those things. This one is going to be just a filter. So there's this one, there's this one other knob. I meant to do this with the drum machine here for external input volume. And on the real Mini Moog, that's just a 1/4-inch jack that you can plug in. Like I've run my saxophone through it. I've run other synthesizers through it, all sorts of stuff. And a really common trick that people will do is they'll actually patch the output of the Moog back into its own input, and you can get some really cool distortion stuff. In fact, let me show you that real quick, just before I move on to this one last thing. So I'm going to set this to out. That's output. Wait. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. That would explain that. I've been doing that a lot this time. Okay. So I'm going to turn it to the on, no, the out setting. That's the middle click. So you see that overload light is going on. That's clipping the Moog's own amplifier. So you can just get a little bit more grit. Little bit grosser. But now what I want to do is none of those things. I'm going to turn all of this off just so I can focus on this one. So here, we're actually going to take external output. So we're going to switch this to out, and I'm just going to turn that all the way up. And we are going to take, let's take our Rhodes. So if I go over here to the I/O, you can send audio to 6. Cool. It disappeared. That's supposed to do that. Because right now, if I hold down a key, you can hear the keyboard come through. Let me turn the sustain up. In fact, can you see how I've kind of got the envelope of the Moog playing? So if I boost this all the way, I can just play whatever I want. So let's let's turn this back down. This is one of the things. Do it again. There we go. There we go. All right. So now I'm just gonna give some movements. 1, 2, 3. now it's really quiet, and I haven't quite figured out why that is yet. But we are actually processing our road sound through the mode.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
This one. So yeah, now kind of an interesting little loop here. We could turn this into a track. And then, of course, there's way more. I was really excited about this before.
Wow.
Nice, slow little forming filter there. Yeah, so
Cool.
Oh. last thing we need to do, of course, is throw a little bit of reverb on it. Let's give it a room.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of like the joy of working with actual reproductions of real gear, is that it's just dialed in better. Like look at this reverb down here in the bottom left corner. Super powerful. Sounds really good, but good God, do you need to tweak it a lot. But something like a plate 140, it's just like a real. It's as if you had a real 10-foot plate sitting next to you.
Yeah.
You can kind of just turn one of three knobs. Make this a little simpler. Wait. Yeah. Let's just give everything a little bit of a room. Oops, wrong track. There we go.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh. There goes show self. Boom.
Hello, there you
Back
are.
in there. I was trying to be quiet and let you do your demo, but it was so exciting and so interesting. I was just like a ghost speaking outside of the window.
No, I appreciate it. The feedback was helpful. I'm used to like being one-on-one with students. I'm like, is everybody listening?
Yeah, and you do lessons, right? I mean, you're actually a professional teacher as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I actually have a music ed degree. That was
Wow.
my college major.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Um,
Well, you did a wonderful job, man. Incredible
you.
job. Learned so much stuff as well myself. I'm sure everybody watching has learned quite a few things. Thank you so much for watching this live stream, guys. Appreciate it. What questions we have out there? Anything particular for this this very interesting demonstration with all types of stuff that we've learned? I mean, it's just a lot. We'd have to rewatch it to really gather everything that's been done. But I mean, but routing from one synth to the next synth, I mean, and modulating it, it's real interesting. And then how you cut up the
This was
roads.
just scratching the surface. This is like my favorite thing to do. So
Well, we'll have to have you come back, man,
I would
for
love
another
to.
one. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
We got some hearts here in the chat. There we go. Thank you. Anybody want to say anything in the chat? Anything at all? We're all
Open for
ears.
questions.
Huh?
I'm open for questions.
Open for questions. Yes, we're open for questions. But anyways, once again, to recap, what we showed you was a Mini V, right? Recreation. We showed you the Stage 73 recreation Rhodes, the Rev Plate 140 reverb. They all sound amazing. They're all DSP processing instruments and effects to where there are no samples involved. You know, it's just crystal clear sounds at the velocity curves that are very smooth. So again, $400 value you get if you buy any lab, including the Mini Lab Mark II, the little guy for $120. You get $400 included. So they come in all different types of colors. We get the Essential, the Mark II series, and for everything you get the $400 value. You know, MAP pricing, not even MSRP. So Kevin says it was nice flying with you. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, my favorite instrument is a spaceship. So.
Me too. Me too.
Good.
Cool. Well, I guess that's it. Anything closing words? Any final words? Any?
I don't know. I just do play synths.
You just love playing with synths?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Me
That's
too.
all I do.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, the addiction's real. The music's real. Keep it alive. And let's keep it moving and grooving. Any questions you got, go ahead and feel free to ask them after you watch this post. And we'll go ahead and be sure to respond and answer your questions. A lot of guys are saying great demo, so appreciate it, you guys. Once again, thank you. And I'm going to close it off here.
Alrighty.
What other EFX do you add to these instruments? Well,
for me?
I know I have a question here from David Schwartz. Out of nowhere, right before they close. I will not leave no man behind. So basically, as far as the effects that we use with these instruments, some of my favorite effects, and again, by the way, oh my God, I forgot. There's a Black Friday sale today, from the 16th to December 8th. I might as well just explain this because you guys might not even know. But check this out. 50% off V Collection 8, 50% off Pigments, and 50% off FX Collection 2. Right now up until December 8th.
That's a lot of plugins.
It's a lot of plugins. I mean, you're talking the V Collection 8, which has 10,000 sounds, down to $300, right? Pigments, the power synth on steroids, is $100 versus the natural $200. And the Effects Collection, which has 22 plugins, including the Rev Plate Reverb we saw today. One of my favorites is like the VCA 65 DBX plugin with the peak stop limiter knob, which you create the distortion with, the natural saturation. The mic pre's are nuts. I'm a huge fan of the effects. I mix my stuff with that. Oh, look at the kitty. So cool. Yeah, go check it out, you guys. There's a lot of sales happening. It's the most amazing time to get anything you like. And any questions you got, feel free to ask them in the chat. So thank you all. And what's your cat's name?
Oh, Midna.
Midna, like midnight.
Yeah, so if anybody's ever played Zelda Twilight Princess,
okay.
She is exactly as mischievous.
All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Once again, have a great rest of your day, and
Bye.
appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with this.